What's up, WikiManiacs? Welcome to another Monday Reddit reading episode. This week we have stories. That's it. Okay.
It's therapy.
I don't know how to read.
It's therapy.
Hello. Perfect intro since we don't do intros. And
I'm gonna start doing it again.
Last time I did one, everyone said it was too long. No one likes those. So I tried to do it short. But then, we found out we could just like skip that part altogether. We could just jump straight into it. I don't know the ruls.
Let's bring it back, Josh.
Yeah, next time we'll just start at intros again.
I hate my life. I hate my goddamn life.
You did have someone stand up for you in the comments on our last one.
Thank you. Okay, so for this week's episode, for the first time ever, I've had somebody send me a lot of stories over Discord. And I don't want to make a habit out of this, but, for the first time, why not? This is an all PearlyComplaints episode.
Whoa.
Indeed. So I'm going to do 3 stories, actually 5 stories from PearlyComplaints. 2 of them will be on the Patreon. And then we got one personal story that will be on the main episode because I don't know if
PearlyComplaints
is or isn't a patron. I want to say yes.
I think
but
so.
We can't be too sure. So I'm going to read the personal one here. But yeah, 2 stories on the Patreon this Monday, which is a rare occasion for you guys.
Whoa.
So before we get started, anything we got to plug? Reddit on WikiShop.com.
Reddit on WikiShop.com. Every merch all at once. I'm sticking with that. But I got to say, Sean, the new desktop, it's desktoping, baby boy. You had not froze a single time.
Shout out to the YouTube comment that probably told all of us, like, I think the fiber is not the problem. And they would be right. The fiber was not the problem. It was indeed my laptop. Got to shout out my friend Raymond. He helped me find a already built PC. He was going to build me one, but I was like, don't have time. We're going live tomorrow. I need to figure out what's the best thing. Yeah. So he showed me something at Micro Center. I had never heard of that place. I go to Magnum Center again, but it was cool to visit that place for once. They knew all about both of you. Anyways.
You've already done this joke on the show.
I know. But yeah.
Yeah, it's good to see you crystal clear, Sean.
Yeah, mm-hmm. I was telling the guys I need to get whitening strips. I don't like how clear it is. That or just wear things that are off-white so my off-white teeth match my off-white clothing or something.
Genius, actually.
Yeah.
Wow.
But are we ready to hop into some stories today, boy?
Let's do it.
All right, so I got one long one for you guys here. This one is...
That's what she said.
Really? I've never...
Again, he shops at Micro Center, Josh. Come on now.
You're right. My bad.
I lied. I'm a frequent shopper at Micro Center. I have a card and everything.
This computer was free, actually.
Yeah. They said you've been through enough, actually. All right. So this one is coming from r/pro revenge. New one for me. I've never heard of that one. Coming from PearlyComplaints.
We've established that.
Yeah, we did it's a ba episode.
Yeah, a whole ba episode indeed. Okay, so this is my grandmother put greedy preachers in their places after she died.
Oh, so this is, I feel the church was trying to get money from her.
And I feel like she put her money in some sort of a freaking taxable thing. I don't know what to call it.
Or a charity.
Tax the church, people.
PearlyComplaints, if you're listening, I will say I'm going to skip around. This one is a long one you sent in. It's a big one. All right, here we go.
Not even going to say the joke
anymore.
Me
to say it.
Huh? I was waiting for Josh to say it.
Go ahead.
That's what she said.
Yeah, there it is. Again, never heard that one, but don't get the joke. So my grandmother was a member of a large conservative Bible-believing church for her entire adult life. This church, which I will call the Big White Church, was a member of a large evangelical denomination. And Big White Church was located in a prosperous suburb of a large city in the Bible Belt of Deep South USA.
Texas, baby.
Oh, are we in the Bible Belt?
I have
That
no
would make
idea what the
sense.
hell the Bible Belt is.
Aren't you guys the buckle on the belt? I don't understand.
I don't know the Bible
South.
Belt, if I'm being completely honest with you.
I don't know how
But
to
I mean,
read.
we are pretty south. It doesn't get more southern
I was
than
going to
Texas.
say.
But I feel like southern people don't consider, like Georgia people consider themselves more south than. Anyways,
I'll look it up.
Grandma was very active in the Big White Church. She worked in the nursery every Sunday morning, helped cook hundreds of church fellowship breakfasts and dinners. She accompanied her children and grandchildren on dozens of church retreats and choir tours. She also taught the youth Bible study on Sunday nights and was very active in supporting home missions as well as helping with other youth programs.
Damn, for free?
For free.
Damn.
Grandma's greatest talent was making other people feel important. I've seen this firsthand many times. Although I belonged to a different church, I often visited with Grandma, and when I did, I usually went to the Big White Church functions with her. I've seen her single-handedly cook breakfast for dozens of Big White Church youth, a task which took over 2 hours, even in the church's large kitchen.
Oh,
The Big
After
White
the
Church
meal-
is throwing me off.
Big White Church is taking me out every single time.
A fucking thing. I'm in the Big White Church feeding the Big White children.
Then, after the meal, she asked the group for a round of applause for the high school student leader for, quote unquote, doing such a great job organizing the prayer breakfast.
oh yeah.
I remember that on a Big White Church youth retreat at a rural church camp, she drove most of the night to go back to the city to retrieve a big box of evangelical materials that one of the assistant pastors, who I will now call Ass Pastor, had forgotten and asked her to get in time for our morning program the next day. His boss, the senior pastor, who I'll call Pompous Pastor, never found out that Ass Pastor had screwed up or that Grandma had fixed it for him. Ass Pastor never even thanked Grandma. So even as a child, this bothered me so much that I asked her about it. She said she didn't mind not getting thanks at all because her reward would be that those materials would, quote unquote, help the children find Jesus.
What a big white jerk.
Yeah. Grandma's service to the church ended abruptly at the age of 33 when she broke her back in a car accident.
Oh.
Afterwards, for the last 10 years of her life, she was homebound and could not go to church because of this injury, plus her declining health due to her old age. Her mind was still just as sharp as ever, and her faith remained sincere, but her body wore out a little more every day. During those 10 years, she made many efforts to reach out to her church, its leadership, and her church friends, often inviting them over to visit her home, and every time with no success.
Damn.
Every one of these invitations were declined or simply ignored.
What happened to take care of the sick, or like, I don't know. It seems like this is something the church
Right up
people-
their alley?
Yeah, they should do. You know what I mean? Like that's your friend who's injured, sick, someone who's been in your community for a very long time, done a lot for you, and you're just not acknowledging them or going to visit them. That's fucking
Ignoring for
terrible.
10 years is crazy.
And this is
Trash.
why I say churches are a damn corporations. This is exactly what they do. They take, and you give and give and give. And once you can't give anymore, they'll just dispose you.
Don't get me wrong. I'm not surprised that the church members aren't going because, I could see that from many of them. But like for anyone in the church community,
Yeah, the church
to not
friends,
go,
I think, is wild.
yeah, that's crazy.
All right. Near the end, when she was in home hospice care, she decided to plan her own funeral. She and my grandpa called her church and asked for the pompous pastor, whom she had known for over 30 years, to visit her so they could plan her memorial service, which she and grandpa wanted to be held at the church. Well, pompous pastor was too busy, but ass pastor stopped by a few days later. According to my grandpa, here's what happened at that meeting with my grandma literally on her deathbed. Grandma, grandpa, and ass pastor discussed her funeral for a couple of minutes, and then ass pastor started pressuring her to, quote unquote, lay up your treasure in heaven by, quote unquote, remembering your church in your will.
Damn. Hell nah.
Whew.
Fuck that.
Grandpa told him firmly, quote, "This is neither the time nor the place to discuss her will."
Yeah.
Then they went back to discussing the funeral for a few minutes. And then asked Pastor steered the conversation back to Grandma's will with liberal injections of how badly her church needed her support.
Oh, you mean the support that you didn't give for the last however
Decade?
many years?
A decade.
A decade of ignoring
Crazy.
her.
After putting in years of work and dedication to build that shit up.
It sounds like at least 30.
Yeah.
At the very
Yes.
least 30.
Literally
Most.
fucking until her back broke, she gave
Literally.
to that church.
Yeah.
Grandpa told him several times that this was inappropriate to talk about his wife's will or the church's financial needs because she is terminally ill and in an egregious amount of physical pain. As pastor would always agree, briefly talk about the funeral, but then always go back to talking about the church's financial needs, its her heavenly rewards, etc. My grandma started crying. And to put this into context, Grandma never cried, at least never about herself, but she was sobbing uncontrollably. My grandpa, a retired steel worker, former Marine sergeant, and Korean War combat veteran, physically grabbed Ass Pastor and escorted him out of the house, not too gently.
Good.
Contrary to everyone's expectations, Grandma lived for another 6 months, mostly through the sheer force of will. Eventually, though, Grandma passed away, and we held her memorial service at the funeral home and not at the Big White Church. Pompous Pastor and Ass Pastor were both absent from the memorial service. In fact, there were no professional Christians, quote unquote, from the Big White Church at the service at all, not even in the audience.
It's funny that the professional Christians are the least Christian people.
Yeah, exactly right. It's oftentimes the loudest Christians, MAGA,
Yeah.
are oftentimes the people that do the least Christian things,
Yeah.
Mhm.
the most ungodly things. To start the service, Grandpa stood up at the podium and in front of the crowd and said, "Some of you may have heard that I disinvited Pompous Pastor and Ass Pastor from this funeral service. The service is not an appropriate place for me to give you my reasons for doing so, although you all know me, so you know my reasons are good ones. Also, my wife asked me to exclude them. This funeral service may be different from other funerals you may have attended. It is going to be an open mic funeral. So anyone that wants to say something is invited to come up here and describe your friendship with my wife, tell a story about her that is worth remembering, or anything else that you want to say to honor her memory and bring comfort to everyone here."
It'd be funny if someone roasted her ass.
When he said open mic, I was like, someone just gets up there and does a tight five. I've got a gig tonight. I got to practice.
So what's up with all these pastors? There were 100 of people at the funeral service, and at least 1/3 of the audience eventually stepped up to the microphone. The service, which was supposed to last 30 minutes, lasted for 2 hours. And as best as I can tell, not one person left early. There was crying, hugging, and laughing. And 3 of her grandchildren played some of her favorite songs on the piano and guitar. We all joined hands and sang her favorite hymns.
Yeah. I mean, heck yeah.
A couple of weeks later, it was time to start distributing.
Jesus, Josh.
Jesus. Hell yeah.
Dude.
To bequests in the grandma's will. Of course, there is no legal requirement for anyone to attend the reading of the will or even to have a reading. With modern telecommunications and near universal literacy have made this quaint custom practically extinct. But the reading of the will is a tradition in our family because it was one of the events that gave our close-knit extended family an excuse to get together. We never had family reunions because they were too difficult to schedule with our large family, but this was a tradition we kept. With this tradition in mind, many of our family members' wills often contained very personal bequests of items that had little cash value, but were the departed family members' way of telling their loved ones that they wanted to share a cherished memory with them one last time. As an added incentive to attend, the family rumor mill had been buzzing with speculation encouraged by Grandpa that Grandma's will contained some quote-unquote surprises. We all met in the conference room, and we were surprised, however, to see Pompous Pastor and Ass Pastor from Big White Church attend. They informed us that Grandma's lawyer had reached out to them and told them that Grandma's will had bequests not only for the Big White Church, but for them personally. Grandma had a large family, so the room was a bit smaller than an average-sized middle-class living room. Extra chairs had to be brought in, and every seat was filled, and people were standing in every remaining space. Since there was barely any space for us, Grandma's lawyer suggested that the pompous pastor and ass pastor sit in chairs which were in the front of the room next to himself. Since there was a large table in the room, this meant that the lawyer and the two preachers were the only ones who were facing directly to the family. Although the preachers were gratified to be physically next to the center of attention, they did not notice, as all of us quickly noticed, that these seats made it easy for everyone else in the room to watch them closely, and practically impossible for them to leave this packed room because they were the furthest from the room's single door. There were 24 people standing or sitting between them and their only escape path. The bequests began, and they were quite generous. I want to say bequeath. I don't know why. But pretty much what we had expected. Grandpa kept their house and its contents, their retirement accounts, and everything that remained. After all the bequests had been satisfied, children, grandchildren, and several local charities received nice but not extravagant amounts of money. Several sentimental items were named and given to various friends and relatives. All of the bequests were arranged in an order of increasing wealth. They started with sentimental items, which had very small cash value. Then each grandchild received several thousands of dollars. Then each son, daughter, brother, sister, niece, nephew received a little bit more. Then several nonprofits received very nice amounts, etc. The bequests to the Big White Church, the pompous pastor, and ass pastor were almost the last ones listed in the will.
Ooh.
They listened politely as the other bequests steadily growing anticipation as they noticed that the exponential value upward trend in Grandma's largesses. I don't know what lagresses. I can't read, y'all.
They're getting $2. Watch.
When Grandma's lawyer got to the Big White Church and the preacher's part of the will, he said, "Quote,
Get them.
this is a bit unusual. Get their ass. But in order to get any of this, you must beat their ass." No. This is a bit unusual, but before I announce the bequest to the Big White Church, pompous pastor and ass pastor, Mrs. Grandma's name, requested that I read the following statement to everyone present.
Ooh.
He then opened a letter which was written in my grandma's own handwriting.
It's just a curse. It's written in Latin.
En nomine Patris.
In Latin. Fucking start levitating. Ah.
For the past 10 years, not one person from Big White Church has ever called me, ever come to visit me, or even ever sent me a note to tell me that they cared about me. Not one minister, not one deacon, not one churchwoman, not one of the church members who I worked with for all of those years and loved dearly, and I thought they were my friends. I worked very hard for you when you needed me for many, many years. But when I needed you and when I needed your church, you all pretended that I didn't exist. I only got one visit when I was dying, and I invited the pompous pastor to come to my house and help me plan my funeral. This was my last attempt after many attempts that I had over the last 10 years to reach out to my church and pastor, who I still loved dearly, even though they had made it clear that they did not love me. If only I could have had my funeral at the church, maybe some of my church friends whom I had not seen in a decade would come to the service and see me one last time. And I know they would have loved to hear the pompous pastor preach, so if he preached at my funeral, maybe they would come to my funeral to hear him, even if they had not come to see me. But pompous pastor couldn't even find the time to visit me or even call me whether he was willing to preach at my funeral or not. Ass pastor came to my house, but he didn't want to talk about my funeral.
Guy.
Fuck that ass pastor.
Fuck that ass. But he just wanted me to remember his church in my will. That's all. Just remember his church in my will. It was then that I realized that I had allowed my church to break my heart for the last time. But that was the last time, the very last time. Ass Pastor didn't know when he visited me, but Grandpa and I had already prepared my will long before his visit, which did include a double tithe. I don't know what that means.
Tithe.
Tithe. That's why I have you guys.
It's
That's the
hell
only
yeah.
one. That's the only one I've been able to suss out.
Double tithe, 20% of my entire estate for what was my now former church, the Big White Church. This amount was, parentheses, named an enormous shitload of money, generating lots of muffled wows that from many of her heirs, including myself.
I want to hear muffled wows when I look at my bank account someday.
For real. I get muffled wows, but it's
yeah, I was gonna say not the good
other way around.
Disappointed ones.
Fucking micro center.
Oh, shit, dude.
I spent how much?
I just bought groceries. But I got to feeling badly that we had not personally remembered such nice people as Pompous Pastor and Ass Pastor. So I changed my will to include them by name. While I was at that, I changed the amount of money that I left to Big White Church to match all of the love that they had shown me for the last 10 years of my life. When I was suffering and lonely and no longer able to work my ass off for them for free, like I had done for almost half of a century. This is her entire written statement, the lawyer said. Now let's get back to the bequest in the will. Bequest to Ass Pastor, 1 cent. Bequest to Pompous Pastor, 1 cent. Bequest to Big White Church, 1 cent. They both sat there looking like someone had just injected a gallon of Novocaine into their jaws. Every one of my grandma's friends and family felt an overwhelming urge to laugh out loud, but we kept quiet because we knew Grandma. We knew that she wasn't finished yet.
Hey, still, those 3 cents, tax that.
Yeah.
Grandma was simply setting them up for a 1-2 punch. The best was yet to come, and we did not want to miss it. There is one last bequest, the lawyer continued, for a charity, which he named, and I'll instead call Black Charity. Then he paused before naming the amount. Most of us had no idea what the Black Charity was, but by the looks on the faces of Pompous Pastor and Ass Pastor, they knew Black Charity very well. Their faces displayed the same expressions of shock, dread, and horror. Every eye in the room is now fixated on them. The lawyer, who also happened to be my uncle, let the silence continue for a few more seconds.
I would have folded.
If we had been able to read Pompous Pastor and Ass Pastor's minds, we would have known the history behind the looks on their faces. Apparently, Black Charity was sponsored by a large black church just a few miles from Big White Church. They ran a free food/clothing bank, assistance programs for foster children's, home delivery of pre-cooked meals for homebound seniors, legal aid, and other social services. A long time ago, Big White Church, which was and still is 100% Caucasian, had provided a few years of financial and other support to the Black Charity. Then there was a very bitter breakup, alleged because the Black Charity was practicing quote unquote social gospel, while the Big White Church was preaching quote unquote the true gospel.
So racism.
Started
racism. This being the Deep South, everyone knew the real reason why Big White Church or any white church would stop supporting a black charity.
Yep.
Grandma and Grandpa had seriously considering leaving the Big White Church at that time, but they had reasoned that it was better to stay there and teach tolerance by their words and example. They knew that they maybe would never persuade anyone, but hopefully they could teach some of the youth at the white church to break generational cycles of racism.
Youths.
Grandma used to tell us, "My church is my mission field." We did not learn the true depth of her statement until after she died. Since then, Grandma and Grandpa had secretly sent a portion of their
Tithe.
Fuck, I thought to the Black Charity every single month. Most of my grandma's family, including me, didn't find out about any of this until after the meeting had ended. But Pompous Pastor and Ass Pastor obviously understood what Grandma, by her actions, which were more powerful than words, was saying to them. To many white Southerners, this was one of the most insulting things you could do to them. It's simultaneously
crazy.
How is that insult?
we treated Black lives equally in receiving a charitable amount. Like,
Yeah, there's nothing more insulting to the whites. It simultaneously labeled them as racist, condemned their bigotry, and crushed their delusions of white superiority by saying, these Black human beings, which you hate, disrespect, and have mistreated, are better people than you are, so they deserve my money more than you do. Having allowed time for everyone to observe the pompous pastor and ass pastor while they thought about their white church and how their white church treated this Black charity and how they and their church treated our grandma, the lawyer said the exact amount is the exact amount that grandma had named in her handwritten letter, the huge amount of money that would have gone to the big white church if she had not changed her will.
Yeah.
Audible gasp.
Audible gasp, indeed. That's it.
Damn.
Ooh, well,
that is some good revenge.
Yeah. TLDR, grandma says, I will not.
God, you were the worst sometimes.
I was really hoping you'd continue on, but I will not. That felt more insulting than the pun for some reason. Oh my God. But yeah.
Oh, fuck. Yeah. I mean, I respect her for trying to teach and instill into the youth of the church group, tolerance and, staying around for that reason. It is tough to teach that to people who don't want to learn that.
Especially when their parents are probably telling them the opposite, unfortunately.
100%. So, yeah, I mean, fuck that church. I hope they collapse under taxes that John wants to enforce on them. And kudos to the grandma for not standing with bigotry.
On bigotry and I gotta say, grandma and grandpa are based as fuck. They're cool as shit. I will say too. I've said it a bunch. So I'm anti-church as hell, but however, I am starting to see, and this is kind of crazy because in Texas of all places, I'm starting to see a lot of churches. You know how they have those little signs out in the front. I passed by a few churches where especially during Pride Month, where just hey, welcoming LGBTQ communities here, and that warms me up a little bit because I'm oh well, this is nice. I'm hoping that the future generations, I'm all for people having faith. I'm all for people having a belief in a higher power. Whatever you believe in, I'm more for it. I wish there are more changes in the infrastructure of the church, because this is what turned me away from attending. I used to practice Catholicism a lot, especially when I lived in the Philippines when I first moved here. Going to church every Sunday was a tradition that I've had with my family growing up too. So, but I did start to see a lot more, and kind of what Sean alluded to, the most professional Christians, or the most people who say they're the most devout, are the ones that are the most evil that I've seen.
They're compensating for something.
Yes. And I have a family member who's like that. She thinks she's holier than thou, and she is the biggest bitch I've ever seen in my life. And I fucking hate her in my life. And I told her that in her face, by the way. And then, and it's just nice to see that I have hope that future generations, if the foundation of church is hopefully changing a little bit. I know the Pope is a little bit of a problematic person right now, but
he's saying the F slur.
yeah. But I mean, I'm hoping future generations of, renditions of popes are a little bit more accepting in society. So hopefully, places like the Deep South, where they're still kind of like that, hopefully change their tone a little bit. That's my hope with humanity, at least.
What's crazy is that this is the most liberal Pope we've ever had, and he's still dropping that shit. I'm like, come on, brother. But I guess baby steps, I guess. But yeah, it's rough.
Hundreds and hundreds of years of just brainwash is what I gotta call it at this point.
They only elect 100-year-olds, so it's not going to change
pretty
quickly.
Much, yeah.
Yeah, but gradual change, hopefully.
Yeah, slowly. But also, Texas is mostly in the Bible Belt, apparently, according to this Google map that I'm looking at.
North Texas, or kind of.
Yeah, basically just the point down at the bottom of Texas is out of it.
Is out of it.
Yeah, and then it goes all the way to the Carolinas and Virginia.
Okay.
Northern Florida is in it apparently. So there you go.
The more you know.
The Bible Belt is a quarter of the USA, apparently, according to this map.
I will forget that very soon.
So will I.
All right. So that was our long one of the day.
Damn.
That's what she said.
We got another
That's
shorter
four,
one.
Josh.
This one's
many more?
also
Okay, I'll say it this time.
How many more can I fit in there?
Not a lot, apparently, for the short one. Oh, actually, a lot more if you think about it.
I don't know what you guys are talking about. All right. This next one is also coming from r/pro revenge.
Ooh.
Pro revenge. There it is.
Pearly revenge. Got it.
Exactly right. This is school expelled me for my mom's anger. We then sued the county and caused reform.
Oh, I do love a Sue story.
Interesting that you'd get expelled for your mom. I've never heard of that before.
It's probably one of those situations where they ban the fucking book. This is in Florida. I'm calling it. It's like my kid can read this book. This book is bad, lady. You are acting different.
I'm going to be honest with you. I haven't read this either, so we're about to find out together. So, I have a really bad leg.
Oh, never mind.
I've had 13 surgeries, kind of bad leg.
Okay.
And had just started at a new school. After the first 3 weeks, I had to go in for another procedure on my leg. Not that big of a deal to me. I've been here before. Upon my return, I had documentation of my restrictions as well as special amenities that were required. The big three were that I needed extra time to get from class to class, I must have someone to escort me, and needed unrestricted access to the elevator. All of these got me reoccurring problems such as constant harassment by teachers and security about my being in the halls during class time, and why was my cousin out too? He was filling in the role of escort as I have anxiety problems, and we had the same classes.
On timeout. Your schools had elevators? What's that like?
I feel most schools should legally.
God damn, I grew up in a poorer area. We didn't have elevators.
Do you have multiple floors?
No.
It was all just one floor?
Yeah.
Oh,
Did schools have
don't need
multiple
one.
floors?
My high school had 3 stories, yeah.
What?
I had a new high school, I guess. But yeah,
why did you want an elevator in a 1-story?
No, I'm just curious.
School.
I've never heard schools have elevators before.
so it's more so you've never heard schools have more than one
Yes.
Okay.
floor.
That makes more
is
sense.
more of the shock.
Damn.
Yeah. Well, mine had 2 floors. That was it.
Y'all had 2 floors. Man, Southern California, what the fuck?
Maybe it had more like built out as opposed to built up.
Yeah.
I did
Maybe it was
go to
bigger that way.
I lived in an area called Nasty City, so I don't fucking blame it.
But these first two were annoying, but easy enough to deal with. The real issue was the elevator, as I was told multiple times that for security issues, I couldn't have a personal key due to it sharing the same functionality with the interior door keys. I would never have had any issues with this, as I was told there would always be someone on the same floor as my classes to open the elevator for me. But this, of course, was untrue about 75% of the time.
This is insane to me. Why have an elevator for accessibilities if the people who need the accessibility can't access it? It's crazy.
The lack of elevator access meant that I always was stuck in the halls when other students were going from class to class, and was consistently late due to having to wait for someone to come by and open the door for the elevator. This also meant that I would sometimes be stuck waiting through the entire lunch period, and due to my absences, couldn't afford to simply go to lunch after the fact.
That's insane.
After about 3 weeks of this, I was tired of not getting to eat lunch, so I did one of the stupidest things I could have attempted and tried to use the stairs.
Oh no.
For context, I was not on crutches. I was on a full-blown walker.
Oh.
About halfway down the landing, I fell. Hard. As lunch was letting out, one of my friends found me, got someone to help pick me up, and carried me to the office. Another one of my friends went to find my other cousin, the one who normally escorted me, but wasn't there due to being sick. So I was without an escort because I couldn't bear the thought of, gasp, a stranger escorting me, who, when getting to the office, managed to get me to calm down enough to give them my mother's number. Now, my mother is quite hot-tempered, but she can keep a level head normally. When she heard that I fell, she was there in record time. When she got there, she immediately asked what happened. I told her I didn't want to miss lunch again, so I tried to go use the stairs. Big mistake, as that set off a Tsar Boba-sized explosion. I don't know that reference.
Tsar it's the atomic bomb the Russians used or tested.
I just heard boba.
I think I even pronounced that wrong. It's Tsar Bomba?
Bomba. Yeah.
Bomba.
Yeah. That was I think it's the biggest nuclear bomb ever set off.
Wow. See, it pays to know history, guys.
History pays off, guys.
Yeah.
And hopefully the mom's reaction is nuclear because I want to hear them get sued.
Yeah, this is not a nuclear revenge. What's going on here?
As soon as the principal and VP walked in, she started berating them in a fashion not suitable for most adults to hear, let alone kids.
Hell yeah.
When the VP made an offhand remark about my condition, my mother was swarmed by local sheriffs that provided security for the school's entrances and the office as she physically went after the VP.
As she should.
We were escorted out, and after looking at the file and realizing my cousin and I had the same address, they figured out that I didn't actually live there. Now, my grandmother's address was listed as she looked after me after I left school up until around 8 p.m. She was also raising my cousin after an issue between her and my aunt. They used this as grounds to expel me and told her I can be some other school's problem now.
Oh, Jesus Christ. These people suck.
I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah.
I did that. I use another person's address so I can attend another school.
Yeah, we did this when we were in elementary school because we were moving my final year of public school. And my parents didn't want me to miss out. So they just said I lived at this other place. Or I think it was my grandparents at the time too.
Oh, yeah. I think if you could get your way into a better school, you should.
It wasn't
I went
better.
to
It was just, it was actually school in the district. But
You went to a worse school. Jesus.
But it was my last year and like I had a bunch of friends there. So they're just like,
Yeah, mine didn't have elevators, guys. What the fuck? Or a second floor.
What's up with that? I'm still shocked that the elevator is more important to you than the second floor. You're like, damn, I just want an elevator. I don't care if it takes me to the roof.
Damn. I mean, I was barely in school. I ditched like half of the school year. So it's
Washington
not
was an elevator the entire time.
Yeah, you have no idea.
Maybe. I was like, damn, this is what school looks like.
That's crazy. I was then enrolled at the school near my house and had to have yet another surgery to repair the damage that was done as a result of my fall and redo the work of the previous procedure. I'd gotten multiple statements from teachers as well as doctors, and my parents were moving forward with a lawsuit naming the VP, the principal, and the county school board.
Good.
We were contacted by a lawyer who had won multiple cases against our school board, some of which went to the state Supreme Court, and he told us that he would take our case pro bono. He was getting tired of going against the board and thought that a case like this would be what it took to try and fix their shit. Fast forward 9 months, and I was walking out of the court with a settlement to cover all of my procedures, as well as a written confirmation that the school would be going through a complete administrative overhaul and that the principal and VP would be let go and have their administrative credentials revoked in our state.
Let's get it.
My new school was let known day one my medical requirements and my need for a personal elevator key by the superintendent and the head of the state board of education. Long story short, school majorly fucked up handling my medical requirements, resulting in a lawsuit that cost the head administrators their jobs, as well as a full-blown countywide investigation of disability procedures.
Good. Because it fucking pisses me off. Like a superintendent disregards you this much and like causes this issue because you know where that money's coming from. It's fucking taxpayers, dude. Like they're fucking over everyone in this situation. Like everyone that goes to that school lives in the area, pays taxes towards that school, and they all just got fucked because they couldn't put a procedure in place to take care of this child. It's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, good on the parent, good on the mom for being a mama bear. I don't blame her for one bit for fucking especially making those types of remarks for my kid who would ask you for like simple ass accommodations. And look, I get being prompt to class, but no class starts until like 5-10 minutes in. Like,
True.
Come on. They should be able to have time and kind of not giving a kid an opportunity to eat as well. That is fucked up.
That's insane.
Yeah. It's crazy on so many different levels. Like just I get like wanting I don't get not having accessibility to the elevator. I get if it has security issues, maybe, but still like have someone there all the time or have them check out the key when they come to school or whenever it happens. Like there are other ways around this where the kid can still have autonomy and eat lunch and stuff like that. There's so many easy ways this could have been like fixed. And it's so ridiculous to me that they just refuse to do anything.
You know what's like an easy fix that I've seen like do in like my previous school when someone is like needing the accommodation to like go to another class later, they have a vest. Simple as a fucking vest. It's a clear cut saying like, oh, okay, well, this person is, need to go at a certain time. And everyone just knows. Like the security person knows.
My thing about that is like,
and you're outing that one person.
Well, I mean, that and OP is already with a walker and they're still hounding her. Hounding them like, why are you not in class? I'm like, look at me.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous on so many different levels.
Yeah.
Get it?
Moving
okay.
Nah. Even I didn't
have that. He didn't have multiple levels on his school. He doesn't understand.
Yeah, he doesn't get second stories.
Surface level only, guys.
I like staying close to the ground.
Yeah. Grounded levels only. All right. So this one is we're going to end with a personal story from PearlyComplaints. They wrote, "Lol, Sean, if you do end up doing an all PearlyComplaints episode, I have a fun personal story for you.
Ooh.
This is the story of the legendary traveling couch."
It's like the pants from that book
sisterhood
series.
of the traveling pants. Yeah. I've always wanted to share a pair of pants with the homies. We should do that, brothers.
I mean, we could try. We're wildly different sizes, though.
Wow. The truth comes.
Height-wise.
John, be mad.
My face is showing it.
It's an audio podcast.
Well, subscribe to our YouTube channel. All right?
Oh, you're right. You're right.
To see John's mad face. There it is.
Yeah,
you
you
bitch.
see the thumbnails.
Perfect. So this occurred in 11th grade of high school 10 years ago.
Okay.
Because my mom was a single parent. By the way, my mom loves you guys. We listen a lot together.
Oh my God. Is this? Oh yeah. This is a fucking listener story, huh? God.
Yeah,
I blanked out a little bit. I'm like, wait a minute. I'm pulling a shot here. Like they're talking about us.
They know us.
They know us.
But it's for real this time.
We didn't have a lot of money, so we got a lot of free couches from people in our social sphere that were getting rid of their old ones. Enter the legendary traveling couch, which already had a fun story under its belt. Basically, we got the couch from my mom's neighbor in the neighborhood that she grew up in. A few years into having it, she found the neighbor's daughter's senior photos that was written out to my mom. My mom used to babysit this girl, and we joked about how she finally got the photo 20 years later. So after having the couch for a couple of years, we decided to take my grandparents' old couch. My mom put our old couch on the curb, and she was really worried no one was going to take it, and she'd have to pay the city to take it away. Well, one morning after it rained, I woke up to go to school. I'm not a morning person. And my mom is telling me that somebody finally took the couch, and she was surprised since it had already rained recently. I was like, whatever, I'm happy for you, but I was a tired teenager who did not want to go to school, so I just shrugged it off. When I got to school, I couldn't believe my eyes. Our couch was in front of the school entrance, and there were kids playing GameCube in front of the school as a senior prank. It was surreal to see my furniture in the front of the school. Also, this was not their first school prank. They had previously put a pool table in the same place a couple months before and stood outside and played pool.
Respect.
Later, a family friend texted us to say that they saw our couch on a country highway just outside of town where the kids had disposed of the couch. And that's the story about how our couch went on a tour around our hometown.
I just imagine it's actually haunted and you like look behind you, you see it following you.
It's everywhere you go.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Hey, don't tell JD Vance about this couch.
Yeah. Ooh, it's moist from the rain.
Oh
It's
no.
it's like you travel so far, so good.
I'm liking it.
Oh fuck.
You're well traveled. I like that in a couch.
Yeah. Wow.
You come here often?
Yeah, you get up. All right. Thank you, PearlyComplaints, for all the stories. But now it's time for the Underbakke of it all.
Ooh.
All right. The Amazing Underbakke segment of the week we have. Is this poster okay?
Then
No.
Never, really.
have they been okay lately? I don't remember.
I can't remember
It's
either, actually.
It's like a mixed bag, it seems like.
Yeah.
That's true.
So to kick off November, we're back with another round of Is This Poster Okay? Where your boys read some interesting posts from the internet and judge whether or not the poster is okay. So this first one is coming from r/not how girls work.
Ooh.
You can imagine we know the answer already.
And they don't fuck.
Mm.
Double
Exactly
whammy.
right. All right, so this looks like a Twitter situation. This is a tweet.
Trifecta.
This is a tweet. It reads, "My wife and daughter are absolutely beautiful," and included is a picture of, I assume, his wife and daughter. This was then retweeted by somebody.
No.
I mean, crazy to post your family on Twitter right now, right?
Yeah, I mean, who knows how old this is?
True.
Hopefully old.
At any point, maybe.
That's fair. Retweeted saying, "You're getting cucked big time, dude. You are most likely raising your daughter to be an OnlyFans whore while she is getting railed by Tyrone at the club. Having a daughter is like having a disloyal life that you can't have sex with."
The fuck did you just
That
read?
is the most racist, heinous thing I think I've ever read. And I think this guy wants to have sex with, I don't know.
This
But
has to be.
Sexist, racist,
Misogynist.
Yeah.
misogynistic, possibly incestuous. This guy hit the fucking roulette of all the red
Holy
flags.
shit. In very few sentences.
It didn't take a lot.
Holy
Character limit of Twitter is crazy.
I think we should dox these people.
That's what I'm saying. I wished this picture they took out the username, but
I hate when they do that.
I feel like
Yeah,
this
what a bitch.
people like this need to be sent to the property
Azkaban.
authorities or something like that. Azkaban. Also, side note, is that the best Harry Potter movie?
Yes.
My family was saying that's the GOAT. It doesn't get
Probably.
better than Prisoner of Azkaban.
Yeah, and J.K. Rowling should be put in Azkaban as well.
Yeah. I really hate that she's tied to all of
I
that.
know. I fucking
It
hate it.
It sucks ass.
They were
Good
my
world,
first-
but what a piece of shit.
It's not even that great of a. The story has holes in it, but it's such a
Integral part of like our childhood.
Yes,
nostalgia.
that's probably why.
It's like when Sean found out how shitty Kanye is. I think it ruined him the way
Yeah.
J.K. Rowling has ruined Harry Potter for me.
Yeah. Like everyone still loves Harry Potter. Those first 3 albums from Kanye.
Once this fucking Diddy shit all comes out, we're all gonna hate a bunch of our listener or shit that we listen to.
Yeah. I mean, it's like when R. Kelly went down, I was like, you telling me I can't fucking listen to R. Kelly no more?
We're losing our
sucks.
childhood to these pieces of shit.
I know. And then people are like, the clues were in the music. I'm like, God damn, the clues were in the music.
I was 12. What do you want me to do about it?
It's the remix to Ignition. I didn't know it was terrible.
Oh, I was way younger than 12 now that I think about it.
Yeah, you were probably I think we were all younger than 12. R. Kelly was big in the 90s or so than
that's
the 2000s.
2002. I would have been like grade 8. Grade 2. I would have been grade 2.
Yeah, 02 was remix to Ignition, I think.
Yeah.
Damn. So we were 10.
I didn't even know how to speak English then. Goddamn.
So John couldn't have done anything, guys.
I was like, hey, this shit's catchy. I'm sorry. I can't understand it, though.
I like a good beat.
God, that's a goated song. That guy is the devil, though. Anyways,
Yeah.
post number 2. This one is coming from Unpopular Opinion.
Ooh, this is a hit and miss
Yeah.
It is.
subreddit.
When it's true unpopular opinion, we know. We know
That's
for
a
sure.
no.
We know for sure. When it's a regular unpopular opinion, it could go either way.
Yeah.
This person writes, savory food is immediately ruined when you combine it with something sweet. I honestly cannot stand sweetness in foods that I think are savory. I can't eat most barbecue because the sauces are so sweet, while the chicken, pork, beef is supposed to be savory. I tried having a quesadilla the other day that had candied jalapenos, and I couldn't eat it because it was too sweet with the cheese and the chicken. I don't hate sweet things. I love sweet things, but on their own. I just think both sweet and savory items get ruined the moment you combine them.
I mean, this is a preference thing, right? So I guess
Yeah.
okay. At the end of the day, I will say
They're wrong, but they're okay.
like with barbecue sauces, I'm like, yeah, you want the sweet to balance out the savory. But I understand it. Like I've tried popcorn with like candy, like M&Ms in it, and it's not my thing. So I can understand in certain scenarios where it's like, I like the salty. I would rather just be like a savory thing rather than the combination. But I don't know. Everyone has their different preferences. So
yeah, I'm one of those heathens that love pineapple pizza. I love pineapple pizza, especially when it's with spicy. You add it with spicy ham or like spicy honey on top too. So you get sweet, savory, and spicy at the same time. That shit's heaven to me.
You can thank a Canadian for that.
That is a fact. I actually didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow. And they didn't take credit at all. They called it a Hawaiian pizza.
Yeah.
I wonder if people from Hawaii are like,
just like insulin, you know, like fucking, they made that shit too.
They went under the radar so that we years later can be like, that's a Canadian thing, right?
All right, Wikimaniacs, that's it for this episode.
Sign up for our Patreon.
A truly unhinged Patreon section this week.
I don't think I've laughed that hard in a while. That was fucking good.
It'll give you a lot of energy or lose energy from all the laughter.
It's very descriptive writing.
I feel weak.
Maybe you need to.
We need to all try what was.
I need a popsicle.
Yeah, we need to sit on it.
$20 tier. I'll boof myself. All right, before we end the episode, we got some Venmos to run through. First up is Heidi, who writes, hey, I love Reddit on Wiki, but I'm sending this to Sean, spelled Seeanna,
close,
to request more sangria with Sienna.
Oh.
I loved the podcasts I loved the episodes that have come out. And now that the wedding is over, I was hoping she'd have some more free time. Wishing you all the best.
Oh,
Heidi sends $5.
Sienna, we got to put you to work.
People are sending me money for it.
We got to pay rent. Maybe she definitely will have more time coming up soon, but it's whether she wants to do it or not. If we were to do it as well, we might make it its own feed. But that's whether it happens or not. We'll talk and see. I'll let you know.
$20 tier to get to where she gets half of that $20.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, we got Barefoot Conrosa, who writes, thank you guys for the incredible cameo. I absolutely loved it.
$10 tier.
Not to brag to that is true, $10 tier. Not to brag to my fellow Wikimaniacs, but Sean did offer to show his bunions to me for free.
He did.
Despite the fact that I just used to be a content creator and not a foot freak.
Well, Sean is both. So
yeah, that's it. Yeah.
In our most recent episode, when you trashed on Android users, Barefoot Conrosa said, I guess I'm going to PayPal Josh now.
No. Barefoot also writes, a huge congratulations to my Austrian Queen Meg Mystery and her daughters for all winning first place in their categories of their agricultural art show this week.
Oh, hell
Love
yeah.
you, my sweet angel. Heart emoji, heart emoji.
Congratulations.
Let's go,
Good
Meg
job, Meg
Mystery.
Woo.
Barefoot Conrosa sends $1. Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Next up, we got Gillian or Jillian, who writes, 220 is my dog's birthday. Sydney and Darwin. Getting ahead
Happy
of it because
birthday.
you know I stay late on the Venmos. I like that initiative. Gillian sends $2.20.
Happy
Hell yeah.
birthday.
Next up, we have Rachel, who writes, idea for a different kind of segment. Song reviews. I recently learned about this AI girly band where the AI created songs about being a girl boss who doesn't need a man and loves doing cocaine with her girlfriends. It's a wild
Okay.
concept. They send a Spotify link to the artist and they say, I highly recommend 10 drunk cigarettes.
Ooh.
Also, $2 to each of you to give your thoughts. Be prepared to laugh. Lols. In all seriousness, thank you, John, Josh, and Sean, for all of the hard work that you do. And also, congrats to Josh and Sienna on the wedding.
Thank
Rachel
you.
sends $6.
Thank
Uh,
you.
Thank you. Yeah, that like I would be opposed to doing it. The issue is I don't know if we could do it on a regular episode. I feel
I don't think we can.
we'd be get demonetized. So
Yes, that will be copyright, unfortunately.
yeah.
What you
So-
can do is become a $10 patron.
Ooh.
And then in the cameo, we'll do whatever you want. If
True.
that's what you want us to do, we can do that.
Yeah.
I gotta say that Bruno Mars song, it's fucking
With
stuck in my
Rosé?
head. With Rose.
Yo, the
Oh my
Blackpink
god,
girls are coming out with bangers. They're all
Yep.
doing their own solo careers now.
so fucking good.
Hell yeah.
I don't know what the fuck that is, but it's catchy.
Apparently, it's a drinking game, but it's also like a thing for APT, like an apartment.
Song's a banger.
It's a banger.
Bruno is on a collab. He's trying to pay some bills, and I respect it.
Hey, one of the few artists that I don't ever skip their songs.
Never misses, actually.
Mm-mm.
Next up, we got Shayla, who writes, SEAN is the incorrect way to spell Sean, but pop off, I guess.
I've been saying.
Fuck you, Josh, not Shayla, I guess. But I'm close to saying it, Shayla. I also live in H-Town, and even though I hate it here, I just became a rich motherfucker, and I gotta say, I'm going to miss the Hero Bread ad. I love the way y'all crack up when Sean does his part of the ad.
You're welcome.
Shayla sends $10.69. I will say, I've seen other patrons, they just like, or other Patreons, they'll like have like as a thing, all their old ad read.
Oh yeah. Like just
I guess we
as
could do that.
posts. Yeah, we could do that, I guess.
Yeah, $10 tier, guys. Make sure you sign up for that show.
I'm down
I
to
will
post that
make
wherever.
more scripts to fucking piss off Sean people.
If that makes you become a patron, then John will piss me off all the time. Actually,
I will do that.
He'd do it for free.
No,
But not,
will
no, not for free.
I'm saying
John
John
wouldn't
would.
make me mad.
No, you
for
lost
free.
me there, John.
John would only make me mad for money.
Exactly.
That's the thing I can get behind.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Next up, last but not least, we have Lauren, who writes, sorry for missing a month. Again, this is Lauren, who sends $30 every month
Yeah.
on top of being a $10 patron.
Crazy.
Lauren.
What are you doing?
But Lauren writes, sorry for missing a month, boys. My partner and I went on vacation to San Diego
Ooh.
and I proposed.
Hey.
Let's go.
Had to spend some money on a ring photographer to capture the moment and a memorable day. But congrats to Josh and Sienna. Wishing you guys a lifetime of happiness together. Champagne glass cheers.
Plink, plink.
Lauren sends the usual $30. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Hell yeah.
That's awesome. That's I'm excited to hear about the wedding.
I'm
Yeah.
even more happy to
Next
hear that
month's
you did it in
payment,
my
I'm gonna-
hometown. I love it.
Hell yeah.
Go Bolts, baby.
Let's go.
All right, but that's all I have. Anything from you guys?
Yeah, I got a couple PayPals here.
Oh, I did want to announce we made some changes.
Yes.
The Venmo PayPal thing. Currently we can't donate to the same GoFundMe. So all those funds will be going to still to support Palestine on Venmo. I'll be looking up other families to support there. And also, if you have some charities that you would like, feel free to let me know. We talked about splitting Venmos up equally to different charities. We've talked about the, hurricane relief, and also to help. Venmo will be kind of like a manual split, but PayPal has a way to kind of have different.
You can choose what
buckets.
you want to donate directly to. So, yeah,
Josh has updated that already.
Yeah. So if you want to do that, you can do that. The links will be down in our description as usual. Okay. So first one, would like to remain anonymous. Thank you for doing this. I still have some faith in men because of you guys. Heart emoji. They send $5.46. So thank you to Anonymous.
Thank you so much.
They say, I go by Bianca, but hi. I found $5 Canadian on the ground, and you always have to donate some whenever you find money and keep money. Thank you guys for everything. And they send $3 US, which would pretty much be $5 Canadian. So thank you for sending all of that. Elizabeth sends $5.46. And they say, I just wanted to make sure you know that Sean Rule helped me realize that back when I was 17, one adult was weird for kissing me. Your rule made it easy to realize that it was an unsafe situation. Thank you. Heart emoji. So Sean,
tell us who to fight.
Yeah, we'll be there.
Tell us who to fucking fight. We'll do that.
Yeah. I'll be behind Sean talking shit.
I'm glad the Sean rule could help you out. So thank you for sending that in. And once again, Venmo's down in the description. You can choose to donate right now to families in Gaza who we have to find another family, or Hurricane Milton / Helene relief funds. So go down and send your Venmos in.
Also, if you want to specify where you want your Venmo to go, we could do that as well.
Yeah,
it doesn't have to be an even split of the Venmo.
100%. Yeah.
But yeah, that's it for this week, y'all. We'll see you again on Friday, unless you pay us, and then you'll see us again on Thursday.
Whoa.
That being said, I know Go Bolts, but I don't even know the Texans hashtag. That's crazy. Anyways, thanks for listening, guys. We'll see you when we see you. Goodbye.
Bye.
Hit therapy.